walking in the airport, right? And after I get my ticket, I go to security and I happen to see a lady who looks just like me. And if you know my story, you know that my mom passed away. All of my grandparents passed away, so I don't have grandmas, nothing, a very small family. And so I see this lady who looks like the older version of me. And I keep looking at her. She keeps looking at me like we're just looking at each other. I wanted to say something so bad, but I was like, that is going to look like I don't want to look like a creep, like this weird person that's staring her down. So I decided not to say anything. So I walked to security. I'm the last person in security. She's standing behind, she's standing behind the security line. And all of a sudden she says her goodbyes to her family. And she walks up to me, where I am in security. I let her go ahead of me. She walks up to me and she says, "Oh my gosh, look at these eyes." And I'm looking at her like, "Look at your eyes. They're the same. Look at us." And we're sitting there just looking at each other laughing like, this is insane. Y'all, she looked like me from another timeline. For real. I just was shook. And so we stood there and we talked a little bit. We laughed and she was able to go through security. We got to know each other a little bit. And I just thought that was going to be it. She's also, I think she said she was 84 or 85. She looked good. She had her hair done. She had lipstick on, all of that. So I just thought that was going to be it. So after we went through security, I was like, oh, that's nice. Maybe that's a coincidence. Like maybe God wanted me to see a version of me, or I don't know. Like I just didn't think too much of it. So then I'm sitting at my gate and here she comes. I did not know that we were going to get on the same flight. And I didn't know that we were going to, of course, be at the same gate. So I see her and she's looking at me and I'm like, hey. And so then we decided, I was like, you know what, let's go sit closer because I don't want you to be way back here. I'm antisocial. I'm strange and I like to be off by myself. So I was in the cut. And so we moved to the front, like right, before you board the plane. We're talking. Come to find out, I find out that she is a retired drama teacher and voice teacher. Outside of TikTok, I work as a vocal coach. So we're sitting here looking at each other like something suspicious. Like, what's going on? We look alike. We are have worked in the same field. What's really going on here? Like something's going on. So, we're just laughing and talking, y'all. When I say our personalities are like everything, it was insane. And I told her, I was like, I feel like I'm looking at me from the future. And she was like, yeah. She was like, well, I hope I'm making you proud. And I was like, yes, ma'am, you are. So we boarded the plane. I didn't think much of it. So she was sitting in first class because that's what future me would be doing. Retired and only flying first class. She was sitting in first class and, we just kind of smiled at each other, whatever. And then she was the last one to get off the plane because she needed a wheelchair. And so I was like, you know what? I really have been praying and I've been praying, manifesting, journaling. I want a mother figure that is close to me. Like I want someone that I can talk to, grandma figure, someone like I need that. And I was like, maybe this is my son. Maybe she's the one. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna ask her for her number, but this is so weird because I'm asking an 80-something-year-old woman, can I have your number, please? Will you be family with me? And so I'm waiting outside the plane and she's the last one to get off. Then finally they wheel her off and she's like, there you are. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And she hands me a slip of paper with her contact information on it. And I'm going to insert it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to tell her how I feel about this. And I told her, I said, this is Mother's Day weekend. I'm in a heavy, grieving, emotional state. I miss my mom. And I have been really asking to connect with a woman just like you. And she said, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. You call me. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to text you my number. And I was like, well, do you text message? She looked at me like, why wouldn't I? Just because I'm 80-something does not mean I would not be texting. That's something I would do too. So I text her once I get picked up from the airport. She leaves me this beautiful message about how my countenance drew her to me. And y'all, when I say this lady looks just like me, my sister was like, well, why didn't you take a picture? But I didn't want to, I don't like putting cameras in people's faces, I want to build a genuine connection with her. So let me say all of this. I said all of this to say this. Do y'all think that was my Mother's Day gift? Could it be that I'm getting, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but this cannot be a coincidence. And she lives 10 minutes from me.